Oh, baby good gravy. Welcome to Mime Time, a show where I talk about the Asian diaspora experience, dealing with identity struggle and self actualization, being the best version of yourself. These are both very huge topics, and some of the episodes on this show focus more on one than the other. Some episodes are more on dealing with your identity struggle, like with family issues, past trauma, insecurities and resentments about, I don't know, being Asian, like wishing you were white or black or another race instead of Asian or instead of being Korean or whatever you are. Or if you're half Asian, being confused about your identity, or if you're an adoptee as well. And these personal, psychological, spiritual problems that we face with identity struggles inevitably tie into self development, self actualization, becoming a kinder, more compassionate, more understanding person, allowing us to understand ourselves better so that we can define success on our own terms, whether it's with dating or with money or with careers or an artistic endeavor, whatever that may be, so that we can live long, productive, effective lives filled with happiness and fulfillment. So in this episode, I share on how I'm cutting out distractions in my own life. The quote of the day is, "If you don't sacrifice for what you want becomes a sacrifice." I talk about getting rid of material possessions and hobbies associated with them. I'm giving more and more stuff up in the pursuit of the actualization of my dreams. I talk about them in my own stream of consciousness way. It's about being as minimalist as I can, cutting out distractions, and becoming lean, mean, frugal, and focused on the dream part. And I will share a couple of YouTube links from Alex Becker, his minimalism lifestyle playlist, as well as a video from Sam Ovens, Monk-like Discipline, What It Really Takes to Win. These are the sort of ideas that I've been working on applying in my own life in the past couple of months, and you'll hear me talk all about it in the episode. So, big disclaimer, after doing some research, Sam Ovens is a scammer, according to some people on the internet. He apparently hides any criticism or negative reviews about his courses. And you can find some criticism on Becker too for his past projects like Market Hero and his book, like The Pillars of Wealth or whatever that was. He apparently bought a bunch of, paid reviews or something like that. It's extremely important to discern what's real and what works for you. What I can tell you is that I've been applying a lot of stuff I've learned from both of them that has been making a positive impact on my life. I'm still very much a work in progress myself, which is why I started this podcast, because doing it forces me to become a better person and to become the best version of myself. But I still make tons of mistakes, and I've blindly followed gurus or influencers or authors more than a couple times in my life, only to find out later on they weren't who I thought that they were, and then have another mini existential crisis. And I'll be sure to pontificate on this a bit more at the beginning of next episode. I actually had to come back and re-edit this episode just to give this long intro to tell you guys, hey, I'm an impressionable, gullible idiot at times. Don't believe everything I say. So I hope you can critically examine information, and especially what I say, with many curing grains of salt. I haven't seen a lot of people out there who get really excited and consume a bunch of content or information from an author or online influencer or whatever, only to be disillusioned when it turns out that person is maybe a scammer or turns out not to be a pure benefactor for humanity. Oh my God, what a shock. People lie to you so that you can give them your money. And then going back and discerning, okay, well, what was real and what worked for me? What value can I continue to extract from what I've learned? So that I don't just totally feel so dismotivated and I throw out the baby with the bathwater and I spend time criticizing myself as an idiot. I'm not good enough to figure out this life and to tell when people are lying to me and shit like that. Oh no, I'm so alone. Only I'm a gullible idiot, and this doesn't happen to other people. It only happens to me because I'm a gullible idiot and I'm not enough. Anyways, I've rambled on enough. Take it for what it's worth. I really hope you enjoy this episode and at least get something out of it. And if you enjoyed it, please share it with a friend, because we all struggle with distractions. I mean, what distractions do you go through in your day-to-day life that you let get in the way so that you're not focusing on what you really want to do? Now let's get into it hard. You know what time it is? It's mime time. You ever have those moments when you're like, what the fuck am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What am I? Who am I? Am I Korean? Am I American? I don't know what's going on. I don't know who I am. What is this world? Artificial intelligence is taking over the world. We got nuclear weapons and phones and planes. There's all this crazy shit I don't understand. What do I do with my life? Will I ever get laid? Will I ever get rich? Will I ever accomplish my dreams? Does it even matter? I'm gonna die! Ah! No, you don't have these thoughts? Okay, maybe it's just me. Anyways, if you're still listening to this episode, if you're a true mime timer, I award you extra honor points. For each episode that you listen to, you get 1,337 Mime Time coins. It's my new project that I launched, Mime Time Coin. It's totally not a Ponzi scheme. It has something to do with like supply chain technology and executing smart contracts using blockchain technology to verify that you actually own the underwear that you're wearing right now in real time. This episode is a reiteration on why I'm doing this podcast, and especially all the things I'm not doing with my life anymore, or at least significantly reducing so I can focus on my tasks. So, to give you context, the 2 months of June and July have been an incredible period of personal growth for me. As I've mentioned before, these days I'm all about Sam Ovens and Alex Becker on YouTube. They're successful entrepreneurs who are all about organizing systems to pursue one's business or endeavor, cutting out distractions, and developing laser focus and monk-like discipline to solve problems and achieve your goals and your dreams. Now they're a bigger influence to me than Gary Vaynerchuk and Brian Rose of London Real, and I love those guys too. Throughout my newer episodes, and especially in this one, I'm going to share a lot of the things I've learned from Alex Becker and Sam Ovens and how I'm applying these things to my own life and to this podcast. You know, as a podcaster, a content creator, I have all these doubts, such as, is this really my niche? Asian diaspora / identity crisis and self-actualization. Is this really the best use of my time? I hear the voice of self-doubt. I think, why am I just rehashing other people's stuff? You guys can Google stuff, obviously. Number one, I'm being a knowledge broker. Shout out to Eric Ziang from episode 10 for familiarizing the concept of knowledge broker for me. Maybe you wouldn't have found out those resources or these books or channels like Alex Becker or Sam Ovens if you didn't hear it through me. Maybe you would have found them later, but if you found them sooner through me, that in and of itself is offering value. It's saving you time, mime time. Good content also recommends other content. That is value, and I'm offering value to you, and that makes this endeavor more worthwhile. And number two, I'm iterating my own unique version and combination of all these influences in my life. I'm able to come with my own subjective experiences and share my growth with you, tell you what works for me and what doesn't, and then give you a personal model to consider. Because I'm not super fucking famous or established or influential yet. I'm no better than you. I'm maybe just a few steps ahead of some of you. I think that's what I would have wanted when I started my journey. Sure, it's important to be learning from the best in the fucking world who are miles ahead of me in life in this and that field of respect. I think it's just as important as seeing people who are a couple steps ahead of me. So my foreseeable path is more attainable. It's practical. It doesn't help me to compare my chapter 1 to people who are in their chapter 500, but to people who are in their chapter 5 or 10. It makes things more realistic. And if you guys grow up with me, you Asian diaspora or third culture kid or generally identity confused person, then you will perhaps benefit as well to learn from a simpler combination of resources. This could be a great mix of both. Hopefully you'll find exactly what you need in your own personal journey of finding yourself, building your identity, as well as finding a direction in life, your path, and the motivation and discipline to take you where you want to be, the best version of yourself. So this is all in line with my vision, which is helping myself and others toward self-actualization by telling you that I'm doing it, that I make mistakes, but I'm doing it. I'm becoming the best version of myself, helping people get over their identity issues, which may be tied to their negative emotional state of heart, mind, and soul. It might be what's keeping them back from reaching their full potential. But the voice of doubt still tells me, Mime, these people don't listen to your podcast. For self-actualization, they can listen to Jordan Peterson, for example, and I highly recommend him. You can change your life by listening to him or Tony Robbins or whoever your favorite guru is. I don't know. I'm not trying to be a fucking guru or influencer or famous. I don't want to be famous. I'll interview some famous or influential people because some of them are my friends and I can flex that way. But I don't need to be famous myself. I just want to make the impact. Well, maybe you won't listen to Jordan Peterson because you don't like the sound of his voice or whatever. Maybe Jordan Peterson turns you off, but you like Tony Robbins and vice versa. Two different authors or influential figures might have a very similar message, but something about one of them turns you off while the other one turns you on hard. Maybe, for example, Oprah has a lot of things that I agree with, but you're not really going to be interested in what she has to say unless I say it, and vice versa. I think it's more likely that most people are going to be more interested in what Oprah is going to say than listening to me. I don't know. It might be true. So I'm going to turn some people off. They're not going to care about what I have to say, or they may even hate my guts or for whatever reason. But some of you are going to love me. For some of you, I'm disgusting. Who's this weird Korean American guy with his stupid memes and inside jokes? Meme time. Fuck that guy. But for some of you, I'm going to turn you on so hard. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm a very likable dude. I was a club party promoter for several years, and that doesn't really work if, people don't want to hang out with you or associate with you. But not everyone's going to like me. Not everyone on this planet's going to like me for whatever reason. My personality, my humor and charm will repulse some people, but for others, it will draw you in with laughter and positive vibes and hypnotize you into hearing my deep and heart subliminal messages about being the best version of yourself. I believe in you. You're not alone. You have to forgive your mom. Let go of the past. Transcend. Don't take things personally. It's not your fault. It wasn't your parents' fault. They just didn't know any better. Be at peace with your ethnic and cultural identity, all parts of it. You can get whatever in this life that you want if you put your mind to it. I believe in you. Download more episodes of Mime Time and share them with your friends. They might really need it. And don't forget to leave a 5-star review so other people can find the message. Mime Time, Mime Time, Mime Time, Mime Time. Damn, I'm starting to hypnotize myself. Anyways, to reiterate, you can learn from the best in the world, and you should, but you should also learn from someone who's maybe just a couple steps ahead of you. I don't think I'm that far ahead of any of you. I'm not better than any of you. I'm a bum, but a happy, fulfilled bum. So, going back to Alex Becker and Sam Ovens, what they're teaching me is to remove distractions and dopamine hits. Until I'm so bored, I get most, if not all, my dopamine hits from working on this podcast. I'm becoming more and more organized in every aspect of my life. I'm throwing away a bunch of stuff, reducing clutter, removing distractions, and honing focus on what I got to do. I'm meditating 20 minutes every day after not doing that for months on end. Some of this is not going to be new for you. But I'm selling random things as I'm trying to become more minimalistic, throwing away some things. Here are some things I'm getting rid of in my apartment. My acoustic guitar, which I've had for years playing at open mics. And actually, it has been years since I've played at an open mic. Like I wasn't going even pre-COVID, but I used to go regularly when I first came to Korea. It's how I met a lot of people. I would mostly do guitar covers, and that was a lot of fun. I even used to host a weekly open mic back in the day. I think maybe I stopped going to open mics around the time that I started doing party promoting, and I'll get into that later. Anyways, getting rid of my guitar solidifies that I'm not going to spend time playing at open mics anymore. I mean, again, I haven't done it for years, but now this really doesn't leave any option for me to go play or whatever. If I really do want to play again, I can borrow a guitar or buy one if I care so much. And on the topic of performing, I used to go do comedy, stand-up comedy at those open mics as well. And I used to do spoken word. I went to my share of comedy open mics back in the day and hung out with other comics. And, I made some really good friends. And I really enjoyed doing spoken word. I put a lot of thought and passion into my delivery and thought about all the words and whatever. Shout out to all my friends out there listening to this who do stand-up comedy in Korea. I love the community. I love stand-up comedy. And whenever I meet with one of you guys, you're like, oh, Mime, come on, we'll have a show coming up soon or whatever. You should come to this open mic or whatever. I'm just like, you should do it again, Mime. And I'm just like, oh man. I tell myself, I love hanging out with those guys and socializing. Of course, I love socializing in general, but especially with that crowd, it's a lot of fun to just shoot the shit and crack jokes. And so I keep thinking to myself, like, oh yeah, maybe I'll go, maybe I'll do a set, or like I'll go and support. But now I'm like, no, I gotta become better at saying no to everything. So yeah, acoustic guitar, open mics. I'm not going to those anymore. I didn't make time in the past several years to go like I used to. I'm very appreciative to the community, the musicians and the comics and the vibes and the venues, but like I'm not going to that anymore. I wasn't going already and I'm definitely not going to go now. I'm going to make even less time to go participate in those events than I did before COVID. Okay, next. My beloved poker chip set with several nice card decks because I like to play with friends and I enjoy the game. Poker. Again, this is a game I really wanted to become good at because who doesn't want to be the cool, smart poker player who wins? I'm not encouraging gambling. What I'm referring to is all legal venues about playing. As I mentioned in a previous episode, I really like the culture and the community of interesting people that I want to be a part of, especially the Korean poker community, as well as all the cool, neat lessons you can learn about numbers, psychology, it's developing a skill, reading people, etc., and life lessons in general. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Don't show all your cards. You play with the hand that you're dealt, yada yada. But one, I'm not that naturally good at poker. And two, getting seriously good at it to the point of making a living off it or just really good requires serious time, dedication, self-education, reading books, like calculating pot odds. I mean, that's just basic watching videos, etc., going to tournaments, games. So I know now that if I'm going to do something, I need to do it proper. I want to do it proper and devote all my time and energy to it in order to really get a superior result, which goes for any other hobby or endeavor. So I know some really talented players, and one guy in particular, he's the best. And I've known him for years. He's charming, he's witty, he's funny. And I kind of feel like, oh, I want to be like him. And like, wouldn't it be great if I could just get really good at poker and then the other people in the community will give me validation like, oh, Mime, look at you. You're learning and you're killing it. Like, you're a young protege, blah, 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 blah. All this stupid fucking fantasies in my mind. But it ain't going to happen. I will never get that good because I'm not disciplined right now to put the time in. And even if I was as disciplined, there's something more worthwhile, which is you listening to Mime Time right now. Okay, so I talked about the acoustic guitar and going to open mics. And I just talked about my beloved poker chip set, which I've sold. And I'm not going to be playing poker, not even as a hobby, not even with friends, at least not anytime soon. If I want to play and I have the time after taking massive action and consistently hitting my goals, then I could play poker with some friends and they'll have a chip set. And if I really care, just like I could buy another guitar or borrow a guitar, then I could borrow a chipset or play with the chipset. You get what I'm saying. And this is just me brainwashing myself, me like, oh, you can always just go get that back. And then just when I know deep down inside, like I will never buy another guitar. I'll never buy another poker chipset because I need to make these sacrifices in order to focus on my podcast. Okay. And the next thing, I'm getting rid of my karate stuff, my gi, my belt, my gloves and shin pads that were actually passed down to me from the other cars. A car is someone who does karate. I love those guys. Before I hurt my back and I was going regularly, we would spar. We'd push ourselves to our limits. Out of breath, sweating, bruising, sometimes bleeding, gasping for air. That sense of camaraderie, us sharpening each other with our sweaty limbs. Oh, baby. Then afterwards, we'd hang out and talk about our life paths and our motivations for learning karate, purging our weaknesses, facing our fears, testing the limits of our minds and bodies. just thinking about it makes me sad that I got injured and couldn't do it anymore. And now I definitely am not doing it anymore because I'm choosing not to do it so I can focus on this podcast. I'll get regular exercise for sure. That's not negotiable. I have to work out like every day. I have to, at least with my back, I'm trying to walk regularly and do like push-ups and some dumbbell exercises and gradually get back into it more with more intensity. But the weekly karate sessions where I have to take a bus to go there and then, afterwards go back home and take another shower. And then I'll want to hang out with all those guys because they're so cool. They're going to be like, Mime, you're going to get better and then you should go to competitions. And I'm going to have to spend all that time training to get into competition. You see, playing guitar, performing on stage, stand-up comedy, playing poker and actually being good at it, and karate. These are all things that I've dabbled in to some degree. And I'm super, super lucky and grateful to have done so. I wish I was good at those things or better at those things or even great at those things, right? Performing on stage, playing poker and doing karate or some form of martial arts. I can say that I could be really good at any of these things if I put in more time and I was disciplined and I devoted the energy to it. But if I only have 10 points of energy a day and 2 points of it goes into playing guitar here and 2 points of it goes into doing karate here and 2, 3, 4 points of it goes to, doing a part-time job and the remaining points goes to spending time with my girlfriend or socializing or whatever, then I'm not going to get any shit done with my podcast. Instead, what I need to do is organize. First, I need to sleep well and diet well and have a good and get exercise. And so I am lucky enough to have 10 points of energy in a day. Then I need to be organized and disciplined to devote as many of that 10 points as I can, maybe like a 7 or 8, to my podcast, because this is my motherfucking dream, right? So I need to be devoting as much time and energy and focus onto this as I can. So what happens is in my quest to be the most interesting man, I'm half-assing everything. And then I'm not the most interesting man. I'm the most half-assed man, the jack of all trades, the most half-jack-assed of all trades, the most half-assed jack-assed jack of all trades. You get what I'm saying? Oh, and what else am I getting rid of? An old copy of StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, with the CD and CD key, which is not necessary because now it's free to play. And I haven't played for years, actually. I used to put so many hours in this game. Like I would used to go to the PC Bang and spend a whole day or two just playing the campaign or custom settings and blah, blah, blah. Just thinking about giving up games in general. I haven't been playing all that much in the past year or two anyways. It's been weeks months maybe since I played a game. Games are fun and I've been an addict my whole life, but I've spent way too much of my life playing video games since I was a kid. Now what I need to do is focus on this game, on this podcast, on Mime Time, the Mime Time game, which is providing you with the best content and the best Mime Time I can possibly provide. Like, how can I get more listeners? How can I market this way? This game is far more meaningful and far more impactful because it has to do with real life and real human beings. This is it's like its own multiplayer, single player. I'm interacting with different realms and missions, going to different Facebook community online groups or whatever, and I'm meeting different people and sharing with this person. And then I'm connecting with other people, asking them to be on my podcast. I'm gaining XP and I'm making progress and I'm leveling up in life as I work on this game. It's like a great keystone habit, like, because, this is all about being the best version of myself. So I'm telling this to you guys. I'm, sharing some really personal stuff with you guys about like my past and my history and my aspirations and what I want for this and what I want for you, the listener. I'm literally putting my name on the line, Mime Time, the Mime Line Time. So I can't go back to playing games 12, 14 hours a day and not doing anything else with my life, but just, eating bags of Cheetos and ramen or whatever. I've spent enough of my life playing video games, eating shitty junk food, jacking off to porn, thinking that life is unfair. God, why me? But now I'm focused on the game of life and focused in the realm of podcasting and the game of Mime Time podcasting. As Alex Becker says, Instead of spending all that time fine tuning your characters in The Sims or World of Warcraft, leveling it up, grinding it out, why don't you just make a mental shift and spend time leveling up your character in real life? Max out those bars, upgrade your skill tree. That's what I'm doing. This is the game I need to master. Now, I have a PS4 in my living room, and as well as a sofa and a nice TV with a stand. And seeing as how I hardly use them these days, part of me thinks that I should sell them. But my flatmates actually use them all the time. I mean, they have their own PS4, but they're using their own PS4 to play on the TV. And I'm glad they're getting a lot of use out of it. And I'm glad the TV and my sofa are being used. Perhaps if no one's using the living room, I'll want to use my PS4, if only just to put on the YouTube app while I have a meal and watch some content on entrepreneurial self-actualization, motivational stuff, etc., like Sam Ovens and Alex Becker. So I don't know. I'm still figuring it out. And perhaps it'll be nice to play a game once in a while to help me decompress as a reward after a long day of focusing on what I need to do. I'm still figuring all this stuff out, guys, but I'm just letting you know this is where I'm at. Okay, so copy of StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, contemplating getting rid of my PS4, but I'm not really playing games anyways. And books. I have a bookshelf. I got like 20 books and some CD albums and some DVDs from some old Korea drama, right? Just stuff I should get rid of. And with books, I love books. I'm always acquiring new knowledge, but I can access almost any of this content digitally, use a Kindle, or listen to audiobooks instead, etc. Of course, it's great to have a paper book in your hands and flip through the pages and earmark it, whatever. But I just realized like I don't have the time for that. Maybe you'll have a different system where like that's the best thing for you to do. You figure what works out for you. But I'm just trying to reduce as many things as I can. And books are, especially used books, they're really hard to get rid of. And when you have a lot, it's always a pain to move. So I just want to be lean and more minimalist. So I'm giving them away to friends or even giving some books back to the people who lent them to me. Downsizing. And also I'm getting rid of a bunch of toys like BB guns, a Nerf gun, various board games, some random flashing DJ light type of things where you switch it on and then like it projects colorful lights all over the room, stuff like that. Just downsizing so I don't have to worry about these things when I move. Also, a ton of clothes. Winter jackets that I probably won't ever wear anymore. Maybe a suit or two. Like I have a bunch of different socks of different colors and shapes and brands, and I just want to throw them all away and just get the exact same pair of socks, like 10 of them. So I don't have to be, trying to match which sock with which when I do the laundry. Like this shit I waste too much time and detail, and it makes the whole process of doing laundry and hang up the clothes or whatever even more tedious. The clothes are a big one, I think, because I want to remove or reduce decision fatigue on what to wear. Steve Jobs wore the same thing every day, that kind of shit. I'm trying to wear the same thing or at least like a certain outfit for each day of the week as much as I can. We all waste so much fucking time on stupid things every day, like, oh, what am I going to eat? Or it's lunchtime. What do I eat? Oh, do I order or do I go out? Do I want jjajangmyeon or 볶음밥, fried rice or noodles or, Italian pizza? What do I want? And similarly, we waste a bunch of time on, oh, what am I going to wear for this and that? And I'm just thinking like, I'm sick of it. Like I'm trying to throw away a bunch of shit, donate the clothes, give them to friends or whatever. So if you need some clothes or maybe some shoes, just hit your boy up, hit me up and, I'll send you some cheeky pics. And the next thing, sentimental stuff like old pictures, notes, birthday cards, etc. You might have these in a shoebox like I do. Like these are the hardest. I'm still sorting through them. And maybe some sort of gift or book from my first girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend. Maybe sentimental stuff from another girl that I used to date. I don't know, these are the hardest. So I don't know. Maybe I should throw all that shit away in case my current girlfriend finds them and is like, hey, what's this? Who's this from? Just kidding. I wouldn't have a problem telling her where I got it from. Anyways, like if you were to look at my room, I mean, it's nothing impressive and I don't have too many decorations. I'm not saying everyone needs to be minimalist. I think I have a lot less stuff than most people. but I want to be more lean and have less possessions that are distractions, because with each less item that I have in my possession, the more it frees up space in my mind. It's funny how that works. You see, they're not just physical objects in time and space. There's a whole field of human endeavor and emotion attached to all these things. Endless ways for me to spend time, to improve, or to reflect on something. A reminder, a guitar is not just a guitar. It's all the time investment. And when I see it, I think, all those years my dad paid for lessons for me to learn guitar when I was a kid. All those times I went to open mics to sing and have fun and express myself on stage. Just seeing the guitar triggers emotions and a whole thought press like, when should I go to another open mic and play again? It might be good stress relief. It might be good to do it just to get on stage and to push my comfort zone again. All the things that we have, all these things that we own end up owning us. I don't want to live my life that way. Like, I want to be free. I want to remove all these things that are a distraction from what I really want in life. I want to be lean and frugal. Again, you do what works for you. And I know friends who are like millionaires and they have homes all over the world and nice cars and whatever. Like, if that makes them happy and it's not like, diverting them from what makes them fulfilled in life, then, that's great. I definitely currently cannot afford all those things. And I suspect that even if I could, I would want to stay lean and frugal. I mean, what do I really need to do to achieve my goals and sustain myself? I just need about $1,000 a month to pay rent, pay utilities, pay phone bill, internet, and groceries, and maybe a couple $100 to order delivery food or go out for a drink or a meal once in a while with some friends. I don't need a lot of money to be happy, and spending a lot of time and money on those things is just distracting me. Like, I've done a lot of that already. I've eaten at plenty of nice restaurants and eaten lots of good food and spent time with lots of people going out. But as I've mentioned in previous episodes, like I'm not trying to do that anymore. I need to focus on this. So to wrap it up for today, I'm getting rid of as many possessions as I can, all the items in my home that I own, as well as turning away from a bunch of hobbies that I have, trying to be lean, mean, frugal, and focused on my dream. See what I did there? I kind of like that. Be lean, mean, frugal, and focused on your dream. I'm going to be a lean, mean mime time machine. Oh, baby. And I'm going to stop here for today, fam, because I'm trying to make shorter episodes. As much as you guys love listening to me for hours on end, like an hour, hour and a half, just rambling on about life and shit, I want to do something different and try to put out shorter episodes, because people these days have the attention span of a gnat. And that doesn't necessarily apply to you, but it might if you're checking Instagram and Facebook while watching TikTok as you listen to my voice. So thanks for listening to part 1 of what I'm sacrificing for my dreams. Part 2 will come out next week. This episode was more focused on material possessions, and part 2 next week will be focused more on career paths or things that I'm interested in or have been interested, but I'm just turning away from completely. I'll talk about my past dreams of being a full-time event marketer / party promoter / club promoter, my past dreams of being a pastor, and then later a hip hop artist. And then later I'll talk about, potential career paths and job opportunities that were really enticing to me in industries I'm really interested in, but how I'm just turning away from those as well and why. So please stay tuned for the next episode. And thank you so much, guys, for your time and attention. It really means a lot to me if you're listening to this. I hope you're getting as much value as you can extract from it. And, to be honest, I feel, again, like, why am I sharing with you things I've just learned from other people? Because you can go into Sam Ovens and Alex Becker and, other great minimalist, focused entrepreneur types out there. So, you know what? Even if I do just that, and you just listen to this episode and then you never listen to another episode of Mime Time, and then you just go into those channels, and like it changes your life, then you know what? That's awesome. I'm very glad for that. But I also think it's important for me to be an example of how I'm applying these principles in my own life, because those guys are like multimillionaires. I'm not there yet, but just taking these ideas that I've learned and am applying to my day-to-day life is getting me closer to becoming the best version of myself. And if listening to my story and my journey helps you out in some way, then my job here is done. And if you think the ideas that I'm talking about or the resources that I've shared have been valuable, please let me know. And if there's someone you know who you think could benefit from all this, then please share it with them. Have another great week of life and talk to you next time. Mime time. Peace.